to have you here. Oh, all right. I'm going to say that again. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining us today in the Agile International Coaching Meetup. He's a great friend of ours, but I am going to go ahead and let him present himself because I think he's going to do a much better job than I ever will. But we're very, very humbled to have you come and share with us all your amazing learnings. So thank you so much, Sanjay.
Thank you. Thank you, Regina. Myself, I'm going to reintroduce myself in the slide as well, but just a short introduction. I've got about 2 decades of experience in technology, worked with all kinds of financials and medical devices companies. And I have been sort of doing freelance consulting for almost 8 years now. And that's where I stand. But I would also like to know more about the audience who have joined here in particular so that we can sort of, make this more engaging. And if there are any specifics that, audience are interested in, I can cater to that. So if possible, can you type, something about yourself in the chat room, like what brings you here? What is it that you want to take away from this, from this, engagement today? And if you want to tell us a little bit about your roles and responsibility, what you do currently, if at all you are in the technology space or something like that, that would be nice. We can spend a couple minutes and then we can move right into the presentation. Regina, thank you. You're an Agile coach. Anybody else?
I mean, if it's a small enough group, they can just unmute themselves if they want. Really.
That would be fine too, yeah. Just some engagement where I get to know more about people here.
I think they mentioned
this
earlier.
Is Sheila.
Go ahead, Sheila.
I'm in the DC area now. About half my experience is in financial services and about half is in other industries. Fantastic. And I've worked about half the time on the business side and about half the time in IT. Started as a technical writer, actually, and moved into doing business systems analysis and
Awesome.
Project management, program management. Got certified as a Scrum Master because I needed to find a way to explain to my management what I was already doing. And then I've also done all the different Agile roles. So at this point, what I'm looking for is this is talking about AI, and I've been a product manager a few times too. The biggest thing I managed was a generation of phones at Nextel. At the time, Boost was a wholly owned subsidiary. And it was, that was where we introduced a few different things. It was the generation just before the smartphone. So it was introducing what at the time was a lot of new technology. And it seems like we're at a jumping off point now where there's going to be a wave with AI of new things that we haven't even imagined. And that's why I'm interested. I'll let somebody else talk now.
Now that gives me a good context, and I think I'm glad that what I have, maybe some of this could be useful for you. How do I spell your name? Guillermo? I don't know how to pronounce this. But you're a digital transformation consultant, which is resonating with us. We are Agile coaches, Agile transformation aspect as well. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Any other takers?
I could say a quick thing. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm the org admin for our Atlassian instance, so I don't know a whole lot about Agile, but I do deal a lot with AI and everything, and I'm just here to learn.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks a lot for sharing that. Okay. Anybody else, or I just jump right into what I want to share?
I think we have somebody by the name of Dilly. Dilly, welcome.
Hi. How are you guys?
Great, welcome.
Thank you.
Where are you located, and a little bit about your background?
I'm in London, so it's almost midnight now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm off camera as a result. Um, so I'm a bit of a generalist. I've done a lot of different things. Usually my main thing is business analysis, but I've always found myself handling a lot of the project delivery. And I've certified as an Agile coach, and I've certified as a Scrum Master too, and an Agile PM. But my first and foremost love is business analysis. But then um, I'm in between roles now because I tend to go for contracts. I prefer contracts, and my matchups seem to be product manager, product owner because of all the Agile background combined with business analysis. So I just thought I need to find out a little bit more about product ownership in a kind of spin-off of a business and then this how it relates to business analysis and then how AI can help me because I'm in between contracts now, I'm actually working on my personal projects and I've decided I'm gonna go, full on into AI and use it. So I've actually got a personal experience of how to use AI to do some of the stuff I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create I do creative writing, so I'm trying to publish digital content and I'm trying to do it in such a way that I can actually do it as a product owner and have some kind of structure towards it and use AI to help me. So when I saw this, I was quite curious as to how much information I could glean from this and apply to what I'm doing personally, and then obviously in the next role I pick up.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Billy. That's very helpful. And definitely, I think once we are in the presentation, after that, feel free to ask any questions you may have about, what you just shared.
Sure.
Okay. Shall we roll?
Yes.
Good. All right. So this is a little presentation on from my fear to fundamentals. It's, of course, my story. Last about, say, I had a previous company before this, called Product Academy. And after that, went on a sabbatical. I thought it's going to be sort of a semi-retirement. And about a year ago, I decided to come back to the market. But, post-COVID, with the AI, blockchain, crypto, the market had completely shifted. And my first response was, what's really going on? So I started reading, I started talking to friends, and everybody was like, jobs are going away. And I was like, well, I'm a product guy. My job is never going to go away. But apparently that was not true. It seems like I heard that, even product leaders were being laid off. We heard that from all kinds of companies. And I literally got to the point where I started to think like maybe I should completely change my career. And somewhere I read on the Google that plumbing jobs are safe. So I literally at one point also considered that I should be maybe steer towards electrical engineering. I am an electrical engineer by background, but I moved into software and never did a job or anything with my electrical aspects. But in United States, to be electrical engineer, you have to work with somebody, you have to get certifications, which is another transition of a career. But and it was totally coming out of the space of the fear, like this AI shouldn't touch me and I should hide somewhere. So before I go further into my journey, I just want to kind of reintroduce myself, what I'm doing right now. I founded this new company called Pursue Labs. And essentially, I do the same thing that I've been doing for the last 2 decades. I'm a product and process expert. My clients are startups or enterprise customers. The difference that I bring to the table, besides providing product and process expertise, is Rick, I see your hand up. You're on mute.
Can you put it on presentation mode? 'Cause some people are on their phone, and I don't know if that's okay.
Better?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. So what I was saying was the added service that I provide is I also do end-to-end software development. Thank you. Abby kind of gave a thumbs up on that. So, and I have partners with Innovation M. This is a company located in India with about 200 developers. So sometimes my customer just want my consultancy. Sometimes they want software to be built. So I kind of provide end-to-end service. Also, I'm partnered with Resumex. Apparently, I met Rick and Regina through them as well. And they have a suite of AI bots. To make long story short, what I can do with their bots is normally, let's say if I have to work with a client, right, user story as a product person, develop persona, it may take me a month to get there. With them, I would say within a very short amount of time, within 6 to 7 hours, we have at least the basic content ready. And so it really cuts down on the time, gives some smart ideas. We all know where sort of AI is going with the prompting and all that stuff. So pretty neat product. And sometimes I use them for my customers. You're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn, and anytime ask me any questions. I'm more than happy to answer. So now back to my journey. When I was in this fearful state, um, of course, when you kind of go through this, other things also start to kick in. And I have invested a lot in my career as a product person. And something which I used to share as a product coach with my people stood out for me. I'm like, what is my value? What is the fundamental value? Because I always used to think technology doesn't matter, whatever it is, it falls in the category of how to get the job done, right? And there are certain values that come before that when you are building a product, providing a solution. And I will get to what those values are for me. They always have been since I got into the field. When you have a value system, a set of value system, it provides a compass to you. It's a kind of a sense of direction. That's what it gives you. If you use the value system in the right way, it provides a certain structure. The values also provide a certain guidelines which you can pursue and sort of dive into the unknown. And of course, with all these aspects, you also have a certain confidence. Like there's unknown. You don't know where you're going. Your customer doesn't know where you're going, but you sort of are taking one step at a time, following very simple guidelines. So what has been my value system? It's not like it was devised by me. I discovered it. And then, of course, in agile coaching, product coaching, I sort of realized that this is the fundamental three things that I need to unravel as I learn about my customer, as I learn about the end users, et cetera, et cetera. So before I go into this, I would encourage you all to sort of even look into your own sphere. You said that some of you are aspiring product people. With AI changes, things are happening. What is there a value system that resonates with you? And you're more than happy to put in chat room as well, just to make this conversation a bit more engaging. So what was the value system on which I have stood by? Well, the first one, it's in sort of a different order. Who's the end user for which we are building the solution? And this itself, even though who's the end user, it's not a one-line answer. Sometimes it's a discovery phase. Who's the customer? If you know about user research, the whole concept of user research is basically discovering who is the end user and discovering more about the end user empathetically. So that's a whole science behind who is the end user. And then why are we building this for the end user? What is the problem that we are solving for them? A lot of time we have biases. We think, oh, this is the problem. So if you provide this solution, this will happen. And that's why you have tools. You have you can conduct user interviews. You can sort of approach the whole aspect in a very unbiased way, to sort of guide the whole research aspect. And then, of course, once you know who your end user is and why you're building this for him, you sort of get to, okay, now we need to navigate into what we have to build. Essentially, what is requirement? What is user stories? And as a product person, while technical team may be doing the development, but these spheres need to be solidly in the hand of product people, whatever your team is like. Okay. So when I started, there was nothing much to do because I did not have any customers. I had formed a company, but no customers had showed up. And I'm gonna kind of change the story to a positive outcome where I did meet a client and how it went with him. And of course, then I started learning about AI. Like before that, all I knew about AI, but AI was maybe a little bit of prompting, maybe just a little bit of chat GPT. Besides that, I did not know much. So the first customer who I met, and I deliberately put this line over here, I met him in a conference through Resumex, and he said he wants to build an AI bot. So when he says AI bot, it is again like, okay, how? So the questions were around, okay, who is your customer? Who do you want to build it for? What exactly is their problem space? And as we started engaging, there was no conversation of technology. It was like, I want to help these people. And I genuinely am committed to this because I have gone through certain experience. And this is not just about, building a company and ambitions. Yes, all that is true, but I feel very, very empathetically connected in solving these people problem. And interestingly, I can't get into the details because of the NDAs, but I'm sort of, cruising over it. Essentially, when he shared, I said, you know what, I could be one of your users of this product over here. And we really had a heart to heart conversation. There was a user empathy and all that stuff. And he asked me certain questions about AI. I said, I have no clue, but I'm going to get the job done. I have people back home in India who are tremendous software experts. I myself a product person, so let's kind of go through this one. And we form a friendship, and we sort of he signed me up, into this project. And as we kind of deep dive into the project, then the questions arrived. Okay, how much budget do you have? What are we really doing here as the first step? And we started building user personas, which has nothing to do with AI. We started talking about user stories. Maybe some AI conversations were coming, but not as much. I was really using what I had just learned in the field in last, 2 decades. The questions were around, everything was around users. And at that point, he started to mention these things, some of the things that I've noted over here. He said, you know what? Let's sell this to investors first because that's where I'm going to get the funding from. I said, okay, so let's shoot for something that we can really nail down in, less than $15,000-$20,000. We don't want to spend a lot of money over here. And we said, okay, we're going to build a small MVP, POC. He wanted a very high quality data for his customers, and we are not in a position to write any new LLMs. So this was the research I was parallelly doing and learning about AI, and my fear was slowly going away. I said, I can drive this ship, yes, one step at a time. And then we learned about Gemini, Perplexity, all these third party vendors which are providing AI engines, besides the chat GPT, etc. And so once we had the requirements ready, initially we just built a PowerPoint with the help of my software team, and we displayed it to him. He was bought in. He's like, let's go ahead. And we decided we are going to write a very lightweight wrapper around one of these engines and see how it works for us. And in about 3 to 4 weeks, we were able to get a POC ready. The bot was deployed. It is functional. It was functional, and we started playing with it. And at this point, I said, I'm going to be the first user of this, so let me test it. And again, user empathy. I started testing it, and I found out when I'm asking questions to the bot, the response time is very delayed. So again, this doesn't need an AI intelligence. It's basic. As a user, it's not usable. I went back to my software team. They said maybe it's an engine problem, or maybe this is us. So we started, doing some debugging. Since both Gemini and Perplexity were providing freeware, so we plugged in another engine. We said, let's kind of spread across and see which one is better. And so we did comparisons on all that stuff, and we discovered where the latency issues were. We also looked at the cost structure, because another thing with AI is what I learned was that it may seem very easy and simple, but let's say if you are launching a company or building a product, every user is going to cost you, right? So there's a hidden cost to the testing. There's a hidden cost if you want to give it to your users. Let's say if this guy with an MVP or POC, he goes to about 100 users, he's paying for it because every time the AI is being hit, there's a cost aspect kind of associated with that. So those were some of my learnings. And I said, you know what, at least the wrappers part, it's pretty doable. Yes, LLMs and all that stuff, or, other different kind of AI aspect, I may have to understand a bit more, but at least for the bot market, I'm a ready person for a product role kind of stuff. This is just another, deep dive into what I just shared with you. We also did some competitive analysis for his particular, there's a question, so I'll allow it right now. So posting in chat. So I'll get to this question from Abby just in a bit. So what I was saying was we did some competitive analysis, which is again, it's not like you need AI. Like, okay, this is the end user game he's building. Who are the other players in the market? And we kind of understood that, okay, this is his unique selling point. And then, of course, I ask him questions. So he's like, you know what? I want the best data for my customers, which we are not going to do now, but eventually maybe we're going to write our own LLMs and all that stuff to provide him best data. He mentioned a lot about user privacy, data privacy. And for that reasons, we said, okay, this is how we should configure and we should go about our, little bit of an architecture stuff. He wanted to build a real trust with end user. His selling point is, again, user privacy. And then engagement with the right partners. Sometimes you can't get user directly. In fact, you need partners who can get you to those users. So we discovered who our partners are in the process and how do we enroll these partners. And essentially what happened was, even though we are in a very infancy state of building something, but one of the partners said, anything that works is good for us. You show it to us, we might invest, we might even bring our own, power in between to kind of bolster your idea. We like your idea. It's definitely a deficit in the market. So I keep repeating this is, do not be like afraid of, oh my God, what's this AI? No. If you are a conventional product, a conventional business analyst, a conventional software developer, just take the next step. Just take the next step and see what it shows up to you. That's the message underlying I'm trying to, convey to my audience over here. So now I see myself as an AI leader, of course, in progress. We are always learning, AI product leader. I do not see AI as a threat at the moment. I don't know what future will happen. I know about 1 month down the road, 6 months down the road. I think in fact, it is only a very supportive tool for me. When I say tool, I see it as a tool, not as a threat. When my customers and employer, recently I met another customer from Middle East, and he was like, tell me what experience you have in AI. And I said, look, AI has been in market for how long? If I tell you I've been doing AI for 10 years, of course I'm lying because it's not that old. And my software development team, even though they are good, but me saying they have got 10 years of experience, that would not be true. But what I do know is if I work with you, I'm going to talk about your users. I'm going to talk about your customers. And we will see from that conversation what to build, how to build, what technology to use, regenerative AI or whatever comes, we're going to plug that in. And he was like, yeah, that's the right approach. Let's figure out what is the end value proposition we are building for our users. I still see there are companies who are not investing enough in user research. When I go for consulting, I'm looking for UX people who I can partner with because they provide me very rich data, and that data is my eyes, how to walk into the system. It's not the best AI expert. So for me, most of the fundamentals still remain the same. Nothing changes as far as the core direction is concerned. Of course, the users are now behaviorally, for example, one change I see is now people want more, products, bots who they can talk to, like with Chat GPT. The users don't want to type. So there's going to be behavioral shift. I agree with that part, but that's something which again, you can arrive at. If you're an AI expert, but you do not understand the end user, you're going blind. And I think that's what I've kind of, shared in my talk. And that's pretty much it from me. That's not a long one. I think the floor is open for Q&As or any feedback. I'm definitely going to address Abby's question over here, unless Rick, Regina, any directions?
No, let's open it up for questions.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
All right. So Abby is asking here, curious if the client had an AI team internally already, who recommended the AI tools for the use case? So he already thought that with AI, this can be done. I think he was using Chat GPT pretty often, and he was like, oh, wait a minute, I can do this conversation with chatbot. Why not make it a specialized one for this particular use case? So he came up with this idea, and that's why he said, I want an AI bot. And I said, okay, why? He did not have any team. And that's where he needed somebody. He's also a non-technical person. So he needed somebody who can provide the whole product strategy fundamentals and help him hold the things together and also get the POCs, MVPs out of the way, because sometimes they can just bleed into too much of a cost. So I guess he saw a certain transparency, a certain openness with me, and he was like, "Yes, let's do it. Let's sign up and build something quick." Did that answer your question, Abby?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
So what's next for you? So this is an amazing opportunity, but what are you looking for coming up?
Believe it or not, Rick, things are actually moving, in the right direction. I just acquired another customer about 2 weeks ago. I'm going to Milwaukee to meet them and understand their system. This particular customer right now, they may not be directly engaged in AI, but the next thing is just keep meeting different clients, keep posting, nice what my learnings are on LinkedIn, try to get more engagement. As I fly around with ResumeX, I'm trying to get more and more engagement in place, partner with UX companies, because that's the difference I bring to the table in my business. I'm just not like technology first. I'm about problem first, user research first. That's been my mantra. And that's where I stand. Education is another part. I also want to sort of, get towards making this product aspects a little bit educational. I know there are companies like Prod School and some things that they do it at a very high level. But I want to engage in that aspect and probably provide something different of a value proposition.
That's
Carolina has
awesome.
a hand up.
I know. Oh, Carolina has her hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. You mentioned like these new customer that might not need AI. Should we start thinking that all new products should be AI driven?
I think AI is gonna, if you start thinking in terms of just solution and put the AI on the side, you would see AI will seep in. So this is one example where this person thought that with AI, he could have a bot with whom, he can have a very smart interaction. And if you see there is another area in which AI is percolating in, which is more data intensive. It can do data crunching very quickly. It can collect data from your emails. It can collect data from your telephone calls. So, and then based on that, it can do some intelligent, it can provide you some intelligent insights. And actually, from product management perspective, also you can do that. Like you can do data crunching from Reddits, and all those tools are coming. So I think AI is going to percolate some way or the other into almost everything. But if you are saying, okay, I need to make this AI, I think then you're putting cart before the horse. We should just focus on the problem and then see, okay, what's happening in the market. There's a behavioral shift happening in the market for sure because of AI. ChatGPT is one of the examples. How many people who used to use Google are now just talking to ChatGPT? While driving, I use ChatGPT all the time, and I'm having conversations about stocks and everything, something that I used to do sitting on my desk. So that's how I look at it.
No, that's interesting. I know that from the product management perspective, right? So the usage of AI, whether it's let's use AI to help us build the product and find the scope of the product or find the MVP of the product, even though the product may not be AI driven, but to use
Yes.
AI as a tool, it's definitely already happening, right? We're doing it when we're decomposing projects, right? We're using the AI tool to help us create the use cases, test cases, etc. But then to your point, once the product is built to build some sort of solution, then that's the next step. How can we automate this solution, right? How can we make it more AI friendly? Or what can AI do for us to make this product more feasible, more user friendly, or get it quicker to market? Or I would say from the customer experience perspective, make it more end user friendly. How can AI do that? And maybe it can and maybe it cannot, depending on the product, right? that we're building. So I think it's both ands, doing the build of the product, that maybe some of the AI tools can help us. And then once the solution is out there, is there a possibility for to make it more AI solution
Always,
driven,
always, always.
Yeah.
And I would add to this, again, somebody can really challenge me because I don't consider myself AI expert at all. I think I'm still in the learning stages. But I built trading systems, for example. Trading systems are like, you gotta buy this or sell this at this price, very deterministic. That's what trading systems are. Or let's say defense systems, where you want very deterministic aspect. And I don't know, because if you see AI, it's sort of, when you say it's not a mission critical application, AI is awesome. But if it's a mission critical application, then I don't know. You have to be very cautious where you're using AI aspect of it. And to that point, I was just trying to add what you said, like really see where the application is in that regards.
Yeah.
Sheila has her hand up.
Yeah, if you're working with different AI tools, I was thinking about a couple of things. First is, if you already know the tool, it's one thing. I mean, they do keep changing, but you sort of know what it is and what its strengths are. But if it's a new tool and a customer wants to use it and you don't know about it, how do you go about learning about it? I'm particularly interested in things like data security, because from what I understand, a lot of the AI tools go offshore and they might not meet the requirements for data security for things like personal information in financial services or in healthcare or probably in other situations. Have you gotten into any of that, or is that something to be explored?
A little bit, and not too much of it. But again, how would I approach it, right? And maybe I would learn something different, Sheila. But I'm a very conventional person. I don't change my approach unless I'm like challenged. Okay, do something different. What's my approach regarding this? If it's a new tool, I would like to play with it a little bit. That's one way I get it. And maybe some of the tools are easily accessible and you can play with them. They provide a trial period. In other words, I do analysis. And another way I approach it, for example, HIPAA, right? And I think
Yes.
recently I did a little bit of a project for somebody for HIPAA. Again, I'm a proud person, so it's not like I was coding. And they needed to build their thing solidly HIPAA compliant. So what I did was I ended up going to Chat GPT and asking, okay, if I want to make my system HIPAA compliant, what are the procedures? And in some ways, Chat GPT is not 100% reliable, but still it gave me a significant outline of things that I can do. And then I mapped it with a system person who was developing it. I said, okay, are these recs in? And then he sort of enlightened me. So I sort of learn fumble. That's how I do it. Analysis, paralysis, Google, Chat GPT, hands-on experience. I just use the conventional approach and really try to see what's what. And that's exactly, by the way, I did with Gemini and Perplexity as well. I'm like, okay, what is the cost difference between the two per transaction? Which one is better? That's how I've approached it so far.
Have you talked to anybody about things like data security? Because I hadn't realized until a couple of weeks ago in another meeting about AI that a lot of these tools do send stuff offshore, do send data offshore. And I don't know if they're careful about what data they send or what security risks that presents. And I'm trying to figure out, what would I do if I were looking at a tool that a customer wants to use that
Yeah.
hasn't already been investigated, but they
Yeah.
want to use it for HIPAA data or financial data,
Yeah.
PII, MPI, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. I mean, these are very legit concerns. Your mind is in the right direction. I think we did ask this question. We are not at that place right now. We are using wrappers and we essentially are very much in the infancy state. But my initial research told me you can absolutely secure your data with AI, of course, with proprietary instances. That's what I learned. That as we kind of graduate and we build a product, it's not like everything will be spitted out. Like we can have proprietary instances where there's a boundary within which we are operating with our prompts and queries and whatever data we are fetching from the library. But I could be wrong. But that's the first answer I got, because in this particular case, as I mentioned, he was very concerned about data security, which right
If I
now
can,
will be a non-issue, but it's going to be an issue as we grow out of our POC.
if I can add to that, Sanjay, this is Guillermo.
Right.
That's absolutely right, but it's the same data dilemma that people have when they move to the cloud, like to AWS. And exactly what you meant as far as proprietary instances is one aspect of it. A lot of these tools like ChatGPT are sitting on like a cloud like AWS or something.
Yeah.
And when a company comes in and says they want their enterprise version of ChatGPT, they also set parameters like that to say, where is the data going to reside and in what aspect of what cloud a geographic location is the data going to reside. So that's something that resonates. And what I was going to mention earlier when you were talking about the HIPAA and how you went into ChatGPT just to ask, hey, ChatGPT, what do I need to do to set up a HIPAA compliant instance? That's one way. The other way is also to, once the chatbot generates the code to deliver the data, you grab that code and throw that into ChatGPT and say to ChatGPT, assess this code, let me know if there's any HIPAA issues or risks at this point. So I've done it going both ways, initial question and then taking the code to cross confirm that what was generated is, still the same. And I've done it across different tools, ChatGPT and some others like Perplexity, like you mentioned, just to, cross reference and make sure that, because like you said, ChatGPT is not always right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But thank you for sharing that. That's actually definitely I learned something here. You went a couple steps ahead than me. You're actually putting the code and asking ChatGPT to, find any leaks or something.
Exactly. Yep.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would add also, I mean, not everyone has the ability to go into the code, especially if you're an end user. I think one of the challenges, and I think it was mentioned pretty clearly, like there's so many tools popping up all the time. And even the tools you're using are being updated all the time. Like at the speed of how quickly it changes, I don't think an individual can keep up. I
Yeah.
think you do have to create a community behind yourself to kind of say, like, guys, let's make sure we're alert, make sure we're looking at all the new things that are coming in, what is not working, what is working. And with ChatGPT, hallucination, and all these other things that we keep having a conversation about that could cause you a lot of pain, right? When are you aware of it? Where has it is evolved? Has it, remember, for me, some of the new ChatGPT has actually gone back in time where they're actually got a little worse than better, right? So how do you keep up with that? I think is going to be our biggest challenge coming up.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Rick. And going back to, Sheila, did you get the answers? Like, are you good with what was shared? Is there
It gave
anything
me a
else you want to add?
direction that I would ask questions the next time, because I definitely would be asking about putting the code through an AI tool. And I probably would try a few, because from what I've learned so far, there are a lot of tools out there and they are each stronger at different things. So I'd probably be
Right.
looking at I heard somebody say something.
I disagree with you. That's right. They all do it a different way. And then with something like ChatGPT, though, as you write your prompts, there's a function within ChatGPT to say, hey, render the code or show me the code, and then you can grab that code and put it like in say Perplexity and say, validate that this is still HIPAA compliant. So you don't have to be a code. I'm not a coder. I'm far from it. But I'll do that. I can kind of read some of it, so I can but I'm not as good as the AI. So I'll take it and I'll pop it into something else or into another instance of ChatGPT and say, hey, validate this is compliant in XYZ ways. So you write a prompt, you get the code that the AI generated for that prompt, and then you write another prompt to validate that code that the AI already wrote for you. So it's a funny way of keeping the circle going within AI, but you don't have to be a coder to do it. It's just a different way to validate the function.
Yeah.
But it does make sense though, because from what I understand, if you want to use AI, you ask a more general question, and then depending on what isn't clear in the answer, you narrow it down a few times and go through several iterations to get to a definitive answer or to get whatever result you wanted from it. So it makes sense to do it the same way with the code. The other question I would have too is about the network that they're using. And if you're saying that it's going to be a proprietary network, then you still have to look at the security on that, but that might be something that you have some company that you hire to take responsibility for that and for any fallout from that.
I mean that not to go down the rabbit hole too much on this, but even with ChatGPT, a lot of companies are using a proprietary instance of that, like Royal Caribbean as an example has or is, but they have it locked down so much that it's not usable anymore. So there's that too, right? So there has to be a constant dialogue and negotiation with the CISO and whoever's running the proprietary AI instance to ensure that it's secure enough, but also flexible enough to do what the intention was.
I think that's
think-
pretty much what I was looking for out of the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, just as a last note, I think United States is pretty much a very litigious country, millions of dollars of lawsuits. So I'm pretty sure either it's a business opportunity or they are already doing it, that there are some solutions out there.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Sanjay. I got a lot out of this. I appreciate your transparency and honesty as far as not being an expert, but learning as you're going. I think that's been my experience. I've played with a bunch of different tools, from the generators to video chats to translators. I have myself singing happy birthday in Korean in a video because I just wanted to see how it would work. So, I appreciate that I'm not the only one just tinkering around and, being honest about what I know and what I don't. So thank you.
Thank you.
That made me
Thanks.
think of something else too, that when I was talking about that I worked at Nextel, when everything we were doing was cutting edge at the time, it was the same kind of thing. I would ask a company that was supplying a tool how to do something, and they would say, "That's an interesting concept. Could you let us know if you get it to work?" It's kind of like that if you're working with things that are new, that
Yeah.
nobody has the answer yet. So, and you don't really know which direction it's going.
Yes.
But that's part of the excitement of doing it.
It's part of the excitement or inner fear to overcome. We got to start from where we are at, just as, Jelano, sorry, I still don't understand how to pronounce your name correctly, Jelano, but, what you said, just being yourself, coming from there, knowing what you already have. And believe it or not, at least, what I reiterated here, the fundamentals that we know already, most of the time, they really get us over the lurch, and we learn what we learn from there. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. I guess I would go on mute, Regina, right now.
I think we're good. Any other questions, guys? This was really good. We appreciate it. Great job, Sanjay. Thank you all for your questions.
Guillermo.
Rick? Oh,
I'm just wondering, are we going to see him in Miami? Is that the next, hopefully in March? Are we
yes,
catching him down here? Is that going to be a definite?
at the conference, God willing.
Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully we get to see everybody here at the conference in Miami in March. All right. We've got the links on the chat. Please share with your friends also. It's going to be an amazing conference. We've got amazing speakers. So please go ahead and share that on social media, share it with your colleagues. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. So again, we do this every Wednesday. You've got the Saturday session that you can go to as well. We're a community that continues to help each other out. So please make sure you're not just reaching on these sessions. You can reach out to people in LinkedIn. They're there to help you. All right. So again, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys being part of the community. Like I tell everybody, Regina, you don't have to go home, but you got to get out of here. Okay. So, all right. So again, I think we're good. I think we took the picture. You have the LinkedIn post that's in the chat. Please make sure you're liking it.
And if any of you want to submit any topics for any of our Wednesday meetups, please reach out to us. We're always open for new speakers.
Thank you,
right,
Regina.
Thank you, guys.
You guys were great
Thank you.
hosts.
Thank
job.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you, Sanjay. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.